with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. Mark.
Glory to you, O Lord.
At that time, the apostles returned to Jesus and told him all that they had done and taught. And he said to them, "Come away by yourselves to a desolate place and rest a while." For many were coming and going, and they had no leisure even to eat. And they went away in the boat to a desolate place by themselves. Now many saw them going and recognized them, and they ran there on foot from all the towns and got there ahead of them. When he went ashore, he saw a great crowd, and he had compassion on them, because they were like sheep without a shepherd. And he began to teach them many things. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Be seated. My dear friends, sorry, I mistakenly said it's a 16th Sunday. In ordinary time, it's but it's 17th Sunday in ordinary time. But then it's a continuous journey towards Jerusalem in Mark and Gospel, my dear friends. For that matter, for all the synoptics, apart from John Gospel, all the synoptics, Luke, Mark, and Matthew, they have a continuous journey towards from Nazareth to Jerusalem, and Jesus went in that journey, and Jerusalem he was killed. So that's the missionary journey of the Lord, my dear friends. So now we read at the very outset of Mark and Gospel how he exorcised a demon by saying, "Be silent." And so that's how St. Mark and Gospel starts the mission of Jesus as a combat, a war. It's going to be a combat against the evil one. Now the war has declared. That's exactly why the enemy is shouting now. There's nothing to do with you and me. The devil was speaking. So the very words were used when another Sunday, when he was calming the storm, the very words used for that exorcism, the Lord is using the very words for the storm. So storm is another way of storm, calamity is another way how the devil is overruling people, my dear friends, the world. And again another Sunday, how he healed the woman with hemorrhage, and also Shalomi, Jairus' daughter, death and sicknesses. Jesus is the king above everything. Now in the journey, now he came to Nazareth, his hometown. The mission has started. So after collecting the disciples, he was preaching the first sermon in Nazareth. And how he was rejected by saying he is the carpenter, he's the son of Mary, and his brothers and sisters also here in Nazareth, which is a very, very, very insignificant, a small town. And now, after that, last Sunday, my dear friends, he sent all the disciples on a mission. And now they're coming back. So it's beautiful today. He was speaking about the shepherdic role of a disciple. Now Jesus, last Sunday, it's a turning point in the Gospel of Mark, where all the time Jesus was doing the mission, and now he's handing over the mission as a training to all the disciples. Apostle, the one who was sent by the Lord. So they are sent by the Lord. Apostle, the word apostle, last Sunday it's a Greek word called from the Greek word, word apostle comes from the Greek word apostolos, which means the person who was sent. And now he's coming back. They are coming back. So you are sent not for good, isn't it? You are sent to have that connection always, because you are sent like the sheep to wolves. So you are like a sheep. You always have to remember, if you want to be a good shepherd, my dear friends, if you want to be a good shepherd, you have to be a sheep. You know, the shepherdic role and the sheep's task, sheep is the one who depends on the shepherd 100%. That's the nature of the sheep. When it comes to a sheep, sheep is very vulnerable, and very weak, you know. Sheep does not have any defense mechanism. He can't run fast or attack or camouflage. You know, he's just dumped there, you know. He's just like a fool. So only strength the sheep has is the shepherd. So the sheep should be always kind of connected. So when sheep is eating grass, you know, so all their wool would cover their eyes sometimes, and they look on the ground. Their focus was his ground. So they don't look up and look at the shepherd. So they are connected through the voice of the shepherd. So even when the sheep was in the sheepfold, you know, shepherd would call them by their name. The sheep would practically hear the voice of the shepherd. Last evening, my dear friends, I just saw you know, it's so spiritual, coincidental, where just a video in YouTube. So I played it, and to see how a sniper shepherd was looking at the wolves from the sniper, you know, that gun, sniper, and he's videoing the very vision of the night vision sniper, and how that wolf was attacking the sheep, and sheep was fighting, and he was saying, my sheep, and you're free, and he's shooting. The wolf is just dead then and there. So, but then, those days, they didn't have that kind of technology. You know, practically, sheep's only defense mechanism is a shepherd. The voice of the shepherd. So as long as the sheep heard the voice of the shepherd, the sheep is safe, my dear friends. So on the other hand, you become a sheep to listen to your shepherd. And now all the sheep, 12 disciples, 12 apostles were sent like the shepherds. Now they are out in the field like the shepherd. Then we instructed them last Sunday, don't take a cloak, don't take anything extra, because I'm going to look after you. And you should not be worried about the place that you are staying. You stay there, preach, your focus should be your mission. And if someone rejects you, just shake the dust off and move on. You don't have to prolong there. So those instructions were given, and they were successful in their mission. And they were preaching, and with the miracles, the preachings, the teaching was certified. The miracles became kind of a wrap-up, my dear friends. So now it's important that they should come back to the shepherd. You know, this should be our life all the time. This should be our life all the time. You go out in the field, you stay with the Lord, and you go out in a mission, and you come back to the Lord. Every time, like you charge your phone, and the phone is in the mission. Of course, what kind of mission we don't know. And again in the night you charge it. You connect the phone to the charger, isn't it? And that's exactly how you move on, and you are in the field unless and until you stay with the Lord and you recharge yourself, you won't be able to do anything, my dear friends. That's the beauty of the calling. See the gospel today. Get the gospel today. At that time, the apostles returned to Jesus and told him all that they had done and taught. You know, a stock taking, examination of conscience. You know, you re-examine yourself with the Lord. Am I doing right? Am I in the right track and proper way? Because you're dealing with his people, you know. You're dealing with his sheep. So he exactly knows what is right and what is wrong. My dear friends, every night, in your life should be a night of coming back to the Lord. Should be a night of coming back and telling everything to Him. Jesus, this is exactly what has happened. My dear friends, I can show you something here. I can show you something. So this is my chapel, and that corner is a place where I pray. So this is my telling everything to Jesus. You know, it's a very personal thing where I write every day. So yesterday was Friday. Yesterday was Friday, and I had Supatarna Mass, and I got up late. I didn't hear the alarm, and I rushed there, and it was anointed. People were touched, and that's all. That's what happened yesterday. So tonight or tomorrow when I pray, I'm going to write here. This is my story. This is my prayer, my dear. This is part of my prayer. So I write what happened that day. You know, I write this to my Jesus. This is my way of telling Him everything. It's important. It's important that you examine yourself, what happened. And you talk to Him, discuss with Him. So that's exactly where you become a sheep. You become a sheep before that shepherd. Because shepherding is important. Shepherding is important, you know. In the Old Testament, there were three main mission charisms of a person. So there was a shepherd, a kingly role, a shepherding role we call that, a priestly role, and a prophetic role. So in the Old Testament there were separate prophets. They became the mouthpiece of God. Amos, Jeremiah, and everyone. Today we read from the Jeremiah. And a priestly role. Amaziah, if you can remember for that matter, Amaziah was challenging Amos in the northern kingdom. So priestly role came from the clan of Aaron. So my dear friends, now in the New Testament with baptism, we all have these three roles. You are a prophet, you are a priest, and you are a shepherd. Shepherd is a king. That's a kingly role. So this is important. This is important because in the salvation history, my dear friends, they saw man-God relationship, Yahweh and people of God in many, many different ways. Sometimes people of God became the vineyard. And also people of God became the bride and the Lord became the bridegroom. That kind of a relationship. And also people of God became sheep and the Lord became the shepherd. So if you read Ezekiel chapter 34, how God was disheartened, and He was angry with the shepherds the flock was given. They were making that he was complaining, making that allegation against them by saying that you shepherd, you feed yourselves. You don't take care of my sheep. You feed you eat their meat. Normally in Palestine culture, they don't rear sheep for meat. There was a different kind of a relationship. They personally named them like pets, you know. They got them for the wool and for milk. not so much for meat. But the my friend, he was complaining them. You eat their flesh. You kill them. You don't take care of them. You don't go and find the lost ones. Because you become stewards, not the shepherds. You work for money. So you use the sheep for your comfort. Now he's saying, I'm angry with you, and he's punishing them. And the Lord is saying, I myself will be a shepherd. And that's exactly how Jesus became the good shepherd, my dear friends. Jesus became the good shepherd. And in the psalm, beautifully we said, the Lord is my shepherd. There's nothing I shall want. The Lord is my shepherd. There's nothing I shall want. There's a difference between an ordinary shepherd and a good shepherd. Good shepherd will look after the sheep. He will forget his life, give his life for the sheep, which is not easy, my dear friends. That kind of love. He will go and find the lost ones, and he will bandage the wounded ones, and he will strengthen the weak ones, and he will protect the stronger ones. This is how we are called to take care of the sheep. This is your mission. This is my mission. Being a priest, being a layperson, we all have appointed sheep. We have our own sheep. My dear friends, we have our own sheep. I have my Cocker Spaniel's pet dog, that she's so attached to me. She's so attached to me. The only comfort she has is just to stay with me. So even now when I say Mass, normally Cutie, because she's Cutie. Cutie sits just right outside the this glass door. In the morning, before I open the window, the moment she's out of the cage, she runs around and wait at my window outside until I come out. So when there's a morning welcome, she jumps and bites and licks me, and after that excited moment, so I sit at my prayer place for 1 hour. She will sit with me, just to stay with me. Wherever I go, even in my van, sometimes she goes with me. So that only consolation, only protection. Before I prepare for Mass, I heard a noise. Cutie was shouting, making a painful noise. I just came out. She came running to me in a danger. My dear friends, so we don't know exactly how the shepherd and sheep is related, because we don't have that kind of culture. But then that kind of dog master relationship, so that kind of a intimacy was there with the sheep and the shepherd. That kind of intimacy, they know them. The shepherd knew the sheep by their name. In the night, all the shepherds would put the sheep into a same flock. So they were all intermingled. They were all mixed. How to identify the sheep? Shepherd would go to the gate and call the sheep by their name, and the sheep knows exactly the voice of the shepherd. Voice of the shepherd. And they all came out. Only the sheep belong to that particular shepherd. So that's the kind of relationship. So that's me and my Jesus. Always I look at Cutie. I clean the garden, I do something, I study or whatever it is. She just wants to stay with me. I always think, what a faithful relationship. What a faithful one. I always question myself. I said, Jesus, I'm not like, at least like Cutie. The way she wants me, the way she is attached to me, I'm far away from you. I always challenge myself when looking at my dog, But then, that's my shepherd. Shepherd, the Lord is my shepherd, there is nothing I shall want. Because being the sheep, the Lord will take care of me. We are the sheep who have been used, who have been broken. In the world, we are broken sometimes by the shepherds in the world, by our own parents, the way we were punished, the way we were punished. The day before yesterday, I just happened to listen to a talk by one police personalities. It's amazing the way he spoke. So he was speaking about punishment of the parents towards their children. And then he was saying 3 ways to remember when you punish your child. He says, before punishing your child, explain the mistake. We hardly explain, isn't it? We just are angry and we hit the fellow, child, and we blackguard, you shout. You don't know why you are punished. Explain it clearly. Puta, this is wrong. This is what you should not do. This is wrong. And he says, don't ever physically hit the child. Don't ever, blame the child, scold the child in a way that the child can be broken. Sometimes you use filth. He says, curtail the privileges. Curtail the privileges. If the child wants cartoon, he said, you have done this, Puta. No cartoon today. No video game. No, they have their own privileges. They are scared of it. He was saying very clearly. And thirdly, don't ever repeat the mistake. Don't ever recall the mistake. You're always the same. Yesterday also, last time also, I know. You don't ever look at him afresh. We were all wounded, isn't it? We were all wounded. You and me, we all are wounded. The Lord is saying, I'm your good shepherd. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to be your good shepherd. There's nothing I shall want. The moment you experience this love, my dear friends, it does not mean, that love does not mean pleasing only, no. Love is not pleasing at all. Love is challenging. Sometimes love hurts. It hurts to love. In love you might sometimes have to hurt the person. It's not the motive. The aim is not to hurt the person, but by doing good, the person whom you love can be hurt. You don't give what they want. No. That's formation. You want something which is not appropriate that time. You're not going to give that. But then that person can't understand it. So in her or his part, it's hurting. So why me, Lord? Why you do these things to me? But that's love. That's exactly where He guides me along the right path. Get the sampute. He guides me along the right path for the sake of His name. Though I shall walk in the valley of the shadow of death. Get the psalm. He guides me. Though I shall walk in the valley of the shadow of death, no evil would I fear, for you are with me. It does not mean He will take me throughout the cushy land, prosperity, no. We might go through hazards and dangers. Yet, because you are with me, I fear no evil. And see again, next stanza. You are prepared a table for me The first stanza. Your crook and the staff will give me comfort. The crook and the staff is to punish. There's a hook kind thing. If the sheep is going away, you put the hook to the neck and you pull the sheep back. And with the staff you hit. The sheep is saying, it comforts me. David is writing this psalm. So that's how the love it is. That's how the real love is. It's not to please you, but to mold you, form you, strengthen you. That's exactly why the Lord is sending them away. He's not cuddling them. Oh, you are mine, you're mine only. I'm scared that when you go out, you will be destroyed. No, you are here to be sent out. That's exactly what you should do when you shepherd the people. You shepherd your flock. You cannot give what they want, but then we have to give the best. For that, you have to have a connection, proper connection with the shepherd. Being a sheep, my dear friends. If you read Isaiah chapter 50 verse 4, it beautifully says the shepherding role and the sheep part. That's how the sheep become the shepherd. It beautifully says, to strengthen the weary, to speak like a teacher. Each morning he wakes me up to hear like a student. So what I hear, I'm going to speak. So this in that way, my dear friends, it's important that you're being sent. Because it's important. This role is important. This role is dealing with the life of the people. The sheep means they are so vulnerable. You can use the sheep. You can damage them. You can kill them. You can lead them away. So in the Bible, the greatest punishment spoken by the Lord, tie a grinding mill unto a person who mislead a little one, put into the middle of the sea, so he won't be coming even either, So that's dangerous. That's dangerous. So being a shepherd is not an easy task. It's not easy at all. You cannot damage your sheep. It's not your sheep, his sheep. So that's exactly why the Lord was so careful. So careful. He's careful with you in the first place. If you are broken, if you are wounded, you will damage the people. That's self-projection in psychology. If you have been hurt, if you don't deal with your hurt feeling, you will inflict pain on the people. You can't be a good shepherd unless you deal your wounds with your shepherd, isn't it? So one day when I was in one of my parishes where I was ministering, my dear friends, this particular mother came with this little girl, maybe 5-6 years, cute, curly hair, chubby one. I always cuddle them. So I got the child to me, and I was speaking to the mother, and I was keeping the child on my lap, and I was hugging her, and then mother started crying, my dear friends. That particular mother started crying, and I said, why Amme? Then she said, Father, look carefully. That daughter was wearing spectacles. She said, remove the spectacles and see, Father. So I removed the spectacles. I mean, not my spectacles, the child's spectacles. And there was problem with the eye. Both eyes were not even. It's little imbalance, And she cried and said, that's because of me. Bhagwan, because of you, what happened? I don't have control, Father. I hit my child on the head so much. And because of it only, this deformity is there. I could not stomach it, my dear friends. I simply could not. How can you hit a child like that, so innocent? I said, I want to speak to you. Then I started a session with her, talking to her. And it was very clear how she, being a child, being a daughter, was used by her own father, molested, beaten. It was a terrible childhood experience. So Holy Spirit clearly showed us, that day, how that pain was projected over the child. So when her husband, being the father of the child, cuddles the child, take care of the child, protects the child, being a good father, she's jealous. She's jealous. That I lost my childhood. I didn't have a father like, then that deformity or psychological deformity would project over the child. She lose control and hit the child on the head. That day she was healed, completely healed. I hope and pray that their child must be now very good, very big, This happened about 15 years ago, my first year of my priesthood. My dear friends, so if you are damaged like a sheep, you can't be a good shepherd. That's exactly how the Lord is ministering you. That's exactly why you should come to the Lord again and again. Till you die, there is something to remedy. Till you die, there is something to heal. So you cannot be by yourself all the time. That's exactly why the apostles returned to Jesus. And He is the master. He's the mastermind. He's the shepherd. He's the good shepherd. He's the true one. So they become the sheep and tell everything what happened. Without diagnosing, without a stock taking, without examination of conscience, you just simply can't go without any examination, diagnosing of yourself. Even the Holy Family, Jesus and Joseph and Mother Mary, they went away without Jesus, isn't it? After a day of journey, they lost the Lord. For that, you have to have this connection. You have to have this connection. My dear friends, it's a difficult task to become a shepherd. To be a disciple, to be an apostle, it's not easy at all. Now, we are in the Markan Gospel. We are in this particular chapter, my dear friends. And what happened? Chapter 6, verse 30 to 34. So if you can remember, when I was preaching about Jairus and the woman with hemorrhage, now that's what we call that literary style of Mark. It's Markan sandwich, It's not literally sandwich. You have a paste, You have 2 slices of bread and 1 paste in between, So that's Markan sandwich, So if you can remember how he was going to Jairus' place, and he meets this particular woman with the bleeding problem, hemorrhage, and then again Jairus' daughter. So this particular woman of hemorrhage was the paste, and 2 slices are the Jairus' incident, isn't it? So like in the same way, today gospel is also has that Markan sandwich style. Now last Sunday, he sent the disciples away. And this Sunday, they are coming back. So in between, we have skipped a place. If you read the Bible, if you read your general Bible, you miss the place where John the Baptist was beheaded. That is the paste. It is a bitter paste, Which says, in your mission, death is a part. You are sent to be killed, This is discipleship. This is exactly discipleship. So that's the meaning of Markan sandwich here today. So it's hidden in the message, my dear friends. So few theologians say, your mission is strengthened by the death of the Lord. One thing, you are called to be killed, die to yourself. Practically all the disciples are killed, apart from John, isn't it? And also, your ministry is strengthened by the blood of the Lord. That's exactly what we read in Ephesians today. With the blood, all the taboos were broken. With the blood, all the flock was united, He called 12 disciples, 12 apostles. That 12 denotes the 12 tribes in the Old Testament, which was sabotaged, which was destroyed because of the foreign invasion, because of sin. So in the northern kingdom, there were 10 kingdoms, 10 tribes. Southern kingdom, 2 tribes. Northern Samaria and southern Judea. And now Jesus is getting the 12 disciples, which denotes that uniformity, uniting the kingdoms again with the precious blood of Jesus. That's the meaning of the mission, my dear friends. That's the exact meaning of the mission. Death is part of it. Death is part of it. So that's exactly how the Lord is calling them. See the word gospel, get the gospel put there. The apostles returned to Jesus and told him all that they had done and taught. All. Because it's important. Sometimes mind can be so deceptive. Mind can be so deceptive where you think what is right. You think that can be right in your understanding, in your fathoming, It can be wrong in Jesus' eyes. The rich young man said, I have done everything in the 10 commandments. But then Jesus said, you lack one thing. Only he knows that one thing. You read Mark chapter 10 verse 17 onwards. And you read Revelations chapter 2 verse 4. He says, I have one allegation against you. One allegation. There are good things that you do. One allegation. So exactly, he knows that one thing which miss in your life. So it's important that you tell everything. Tell everything to the Lord. And see the words of Jesus. And he said to them, get the word. And he said to them, come away. Come away by yourself to a desolate place and rest a while. I can preach a separate sermon on those words, Come away by yourselves. Only you. Only you. Who are you? The disciples, not the devotees. Devotees, they don't want this kind of thing, They just come to the Lord in their need and get what they want, and they go away in their own way. Our disciples are the people. They give up their way to find the way, because Jesus is the way, and to be sent in the way Jesus wants them to go. They are disciples and apostles. A disciple is a person who listens to the Lord. Apostle is a person who is sent, isn't it? And for that mission, if you are not simply a devotee, if you are a disciple, the Lord is calling you only. You can have your religion in a way, Too much of anything is good for nothing. So even Jesus, too much of him is, just vaguely follow him. Okay, like you come for Mass and mark the attendance. Sunday Mass is enough, nothing else. Prayer not much, So I prayed because I can be destroyed otherwise. Just to manage, if I can manage to go to heaven, that's enough. Nothing much. So that kind of life, you don't want this kind of a calling, Come away by yourself. There are a multitude of people. Lot of people. Crowd were gathering in numbers. But Jesus particularly warned them only. You ask yourself, my dear friends, are you in this pack of Jesus, flock of Jesus? Are you in that intimacy? Are you in that inner circle of Jesus? Inner circle of discipleship? The Lord is saying, come away with myself, only by yourself, to a desolate place. This world is in a rat race, my dear friends. The world is in a rat race. You are just like machines, running after you don't know what. And the voice is lost in the noise, isn't it? That's the meaning of desolate place. Each prayer should be a desolate prayer experience where you go away from the world. That's the prayer is climbing of the mountain. It's a different level. You don't have to climb a mountain. Whenever you pray, it should be a desolate place, a place away from distractions. You keep your phone away. It's important, my dear friends. It's important that you keep away from all the company in the world, and you'll be with the Lord alone. This should be quality time. You have to fight for this time, my dear friends. You have to steal for that time. It's not freely given. Devil would attack that particular time. He will put all the reinforcements, all the possible strength to break that moment. Because the devil knows if you have that quality time, your life would be quality life, isn't it? So it's easy if your that time is attacked, you will play havoc, You'll be messed up in life. So devil does not have much work, Only even he breaks, he hits on the connection. A desolate place. And he said, rest a while. Rest a while. In Matthew chapter 11, verse 28, we were reading this week. Come to me, those who are weary and heavy laden. I will give you rest. I will give you rest. Spiritual rest is not simple idling, Spiritual rest of Jesus is different. It's not simply, having a comfortable, cushy, kind of a life of Kofogogan. You're free and you are on an outing and you are on a picnic, a day of a party or something like that. No. That rest is full of activity. That rest is full of activity. Activity in passivity. Passive activity. That rest. You find Him. In that rest you are broken. In that rest you are shaken. In your rest you are tested. In your rest, you are challenged. You are challenged. Sometimes you are disturbed in that rest. That's exactly why in John chapter 14, verse 27, I will give you rest. But then that peace is not in the way the world give you peace. No. Because my peace is different. You literally read Luke chapter 12, verse 49 onwards. He says, I have come with fire, not with peace. So that rest, it gives you perpetual rest. As a disciple, we need this, my dear friends. By yourself, desolate place, rest. So exactly in Garden of Eden, Garden of Gethsemane, he was having this kind of rest, isn't it? By yourself, Peter, John, and James, they were waiting. They could not get closer. Jesus went alone, by yourself, a desolate place, and rest. He was fighting, he was dying, and he was saying, Father, if possible, take this cup away from me. But then thy will be done, not mine. And that kind of rest, see how he was disturbed. But then in Luke chapter 22, verse 43, it said, angel of the Lord came and strengthened the Lord. And then he had that rest, isn't it? That should be our prayer. Prayer. Father Pio's prayer room was a war room. Confessional was a war room. It was fire. Sometimes devil, Satan set fire. That in that room, Father Pio's room, sometimes he was shouting in terrible agony. And there were black patches. He could not sleep. That's kind of rest the Lord is giving you. Your challenge is tested. You're strengthened in fire. Then with that strength, you are going to come out, my dear friends. A desolate place. Get the word. For many were coming and going. And they had no leisure even to eat. Busy. B-U-S-Y, being under Satan's yoke. B, being, you, under, S, Satan's Y, yoke. You have to be careful. It can be very, bunch of good work. Good task. You can cover the light with a rusted plate or gold plate, End of the day, you have covered the light. If you don't have this quality time with the Lord because of good work, sometimes you say, ora et labora, which means my work is my prayer. You will have a time with that, How you can, your work can be your prayer, but then you have to have a separate, desolate, place, a separated time with the Lord. Quality, the first and the best time. Otherwise, you can't be a disciple. No, it's dangerous. You will go and, destroy people. You will go and damage people. You will mess the things up, If you are not properly connected. Please don't go. At least wait without doing anything. It's less harm. If you don't pray, I warn you. If you don't pray, it's dangerous. Highly dangerous, So that's exactly, Jesus made a point. See, the strategy of the Lord. For many were coming and going, and they had no leisure even to eat. And they went away in a boat to a desolate place by themselves. This boat, I love this boat, I have a boat. Everything is here today, So they went in a boat, a sea, the Sea of Galilee. It's not an ocean. It's a sea. So Jesus always had this boat, Think about this boat in your life. You and your Jesus. So it's a strategy that the Lord used because people were in the land. So they didn't have any rest, even leisure to have their meals. So be with the Lord. See, now they went away in the boat to a desolate place by themselves. Jesus and you. Jesus and you. You have to have this stealing of time. You have to have your boat, It can be, it's in a way, because the scheduled time is so hectic. You get a moment with the Lord. It can be your bathroom, toilet, My day of toilet is a prayer room for me. It can be your vehicle. It's a wonderful boat. I love travel alone, I love travel alone. I talk to Him and I listen to music. I praise and, that's my boat, So find your boat. Find your boat, my dear friends. Only you and Jesus. So sometimes your husband can be fast asleep. You can get into the boat, Don't, without getting in the phone and chat, get into the boat. There are few people, they don't have fine time to play. So they get up a little bit early. When everyone is sleeping, that's the boat. I'm blessed in this center, It's a very lonely place. Hardly people do come here. And today, of course, the youth is working. Otherwise, in the mornings, even the children, as they sleep, because they work in the night. They work in American timetable, I think. No, they after 4 only they sleep. So get up after 11. So in the morning I'm free. No one is, only cuties there. No one is here. That's my boat. You have to find your boat, my dear friends. You have to find your boat, only Jesus. So now it's amazing, it's beautiful. So now from this particular place, my dear friends, Galilee to Bethsaida. From Galilee to Bethsaida, in the boat, it is just 4 kilometers. It's a shortcut. From the land, it's nearly approximately 10 kilometers, So, see, the people, now many saw them going and recognized them, and they ran there on foot from all the towns and got there ahead of them. Now see the run, Run like road runner, So you run, and from the sea, it's only 4 kilometers. From the land, it's about 10 kilometers. So they run like anything before they land there. But then, on the other hand, Jesus stayed in the sea more time because there was no one. So they had time to run before them. So Jesus took this shortcut, not to be short, in time. He wanted to go away from the people. In that way, you have to be selfish. Spiritually selfish, my dear friends. When it comes to your prayer, you have to be selfish sometimes. Unless and until you become selfish, there you cannot be selfless in the mission. Again, I say, until and unless you are selfish in your prayer, stealing for that time, you cannot be selfless. So that's exactly in one demonstration, in the demonstration in the flights, when it comes to oxygen bags, So in a time of emergency, you get all the oxygen bags coming down from the roof, They say, first take care of your safety before help another. Otherwise, you will die without oxygen by trying to help another person. So fix your oxygen first before helping another. Become selfish to be selfless. That should be our team. Become selfish to be selfless. My dear friends, so now they go there. By that time, they must have talked to Jesus, be with the Lord, argued with him, and there were complaints. We don't know what happened. For another mission. You will love to stay in the boat, like in Tabor, Like in Tabor, Peter wanted to stay, putting 3 tents. No, you have to come back. Your meaning of your connection when it comes to your mission. Meaning of your connection when it comes to your mission, isn't it? So you be with the Lord, stay in the connection, and you have to come back. Tabor and Calvary. That should be the mission. Now when they reached, now get the word. Now many saw them, they saw before ahead of them. When he went ashore, he saw a great crowd. And what happened? What should happen? Ayyo, malavade, ayyo, ennaked, ayyo, I'm tired of them again. Now this same old people are here. The same people were here, no? Same wife, After prayer, same wife. You don't find an angel there. Same husband, same old husband. But then after coming down from the mountain, after coming out of the boat, the attitude, the way you look at them is different. See, when he went ashore and saw a great crowd, and he had compassion on them. Compassion. This word compassion is very deep in the Bible, my dear friends. That's connected to heart, liver, bowels, the whole self. He was moved with pity. He really loved them. He saw how the people was lost. By this time, John the Baptist was killed, and a lot of thousands of people gathered around him, and they are lost now. All of them are coming to the Lord. A sheep, and he said, because they were like sheep without a shepherd. A sheep without a shepherd is completely a stranded place of life. My dear, you're simply lost. As I said, a sheep is completely dependent on the shepherd. Moment you lose the shepherd, my dear friends, three dangerous things can happen to the shepherd, the sheep. One thing, how to nourish yourself. The sheep does not know how to feed him. There can be poisonous plants. They can eat they can eat that in ignorance and die. Shepherd is the one who feeds them, takes them to the green pastures. And that direction is not there. And without the shepherd, how to protect? There can be thieves. There can be rogues. They can come and kill them. And without the shepherd, how to come back home? Without Jesus, you won't be able to go back to your Father's house, because He has prepared the way. Wolves, lions, they can kill the sheep. So without the shepherd, you are completely lost. So He looks at you, if you are lost, with that same compassion. And He takes you back to His bosom, strengthens you and sends you like the apostles to become a shepherd, my dear friends. So what He did, and He began to teach them many things. How He loved them, like with the word only. With the word. He strengthened them with the word. My dear friends, it's important that the sheep, the only consolation is the word, the voice of the shepherd. So that's how He directed them. Voice, word of God should test them, break them, build them, console them, direct them. It's like a double-edged sword, my dear friends. So it's important that you stay with Him and go. Come back, stay and go. It's like this sleep, my dear friends. If you don't work well, you can't sleep. If you're not tired, you can't sleep, isn't it? But if you don't sleep well, you can't work. Sleep and work. So that's exactly what you should, as a disciple, have in your life. So this is the message today. Be that shepherd who listened to and that sheep, like a sheep, you should listen to the shepherd. And it's a great, difficult mission. Steal for that time. Rob that time to be in an isolated, desolate place with Jesus alone. To learn how to love. To learn how to do the mission without disheartening, without any discouragement. To love people in the right way, the way Jesus loved them. For that, you have to be with that lover if you want to love in the way that lover loved. Amen.